And then you flew to Aspen and posted a photo an hour later. A murmur moved through the booths. My father's smile held, but it cost him something to hold it now. That's a private family matter, he said. This isn't the place. And this, I said, and I held up the email, is you, last October, writing to Ashford, calling yourself the family's representative, trying to put yourself between your mother and her own decision. They told you no. That's why you hid it. That's a business misunderstanding, Dennis said into the microphone, and it was the wrong tone, too fast and too high, and the room heard it. So I held up the last page, the 2016 draft, with his name at the top. I let the room see it before I said anything. In 2016, I said, you tried to sell her recipes to Halbrook, to a competitor, behind her back, while she was still standing at that stove every single day. I let it sit for a beat. You are standing in her diner, holding her microphone, accusing me of stealing the exact thing you already tried to sell. The murmur became something with weight now, a low sound moving through 80 people who had eaten in this room their whole lives. I saw faces I'd known my whole life doing math. Loretta from next door, who'd sent the text that started all of it, had a hand over her mouth. The old man in the corner booth had set down his fork. The reporter had stopped writing and was just watching my father now, which is worse, for a man like my father, than any question. He had built a whole life on being the reasonable one in every room. The room had just quietly decided he wasn't. The reporter was writing fast. My father opened his mouth, and for a moment nothing came out. Because there was nothing to say. And I watched Dennis Hills lose control of a room he was standing in the middle of for the first time in my life. Then Sloane stood up. She walked to the counter and she took the microphone out of our father's hand, gently, the way you take something from a person who's about to drop it. And she set the original 2016 page down on the counter, in front of Grandma, where the reporter and the neighbors and the photographer could all see it. I knew, Sloane said. Her voice shook and she let it shake. I was 19, and I knew, and I stayed quiet because it was easier. Because I liked being the favorite more than I liked being honest. She looked at Grandma. I'm sorry. I should have stayed too. My mother crossed the room and took my father by the arm and pulled him toward the door, her chin up, still performing dignity, and the two of them left the Bluebird through that blue door with the whole town watching them go. Nobody moved to stop them. Nobody moved to follow. The silence they walked out into was its own kind of verdict. Grandma stood up. She took the microphone last and she did not raise her voice, because she never has. I'm 79, she said. I'm not confused. She let the room hold that. I know exactly who stayed. She looked at me across all those people and she lifted the blue notebook off the counter and held it up, just slightly, toward me. Not a speech. Just a hand, and a book, and a room full of witnesses. An old man in the corner booth, a customer from the diner's earliest days, took a bite of one of the samples, chewed and said, to no one,